All right, friends, real talk. I have just spent way too much on random supplies the past few weeks, and I'm really excited about them, even though I probably shouldn't have bought this much. But I wanted to just go through it with you because I'm super excited, and I have some really fun things here that I can't wait to try out and just show you what my haul has been recently. I really don't usually buy this many art supplies or any art supplies for that matter. But those Michaels coupons will get me. And here we are. So my hauls were from Michaels, multiple times at Michaels, and then one haul from Barnes & Noble. So we'll go through all of that. Let's start with my new Poscas because I'm super excited about these new colors. I've been using them and loving them. It's always exciting to get a new Posca color or any acrylic marker color just because, you know, when you're painting with tubes of paint, you can obviously mix and create your own colors, but with markers, you are stuck with whatever color is in the tube. And so whenever I get a new color, it is like starting a whole new world, a whole new chapter in my artistic journey. So as you can see, I focused on getting some more blues and greens because I was working on my landscape project that I was doing. So I wanted to make sure I had some more greens and blues, and those came in real handy for that exhibition a few weeks ago. You can see in one of my thumbnails here that I used these colors a lot and really loved using them. So which colors do I have here? I have the lilac color, absolutely beauteous. Let's see how this lilac looks for you all. If you are an acrylic marker girly like me, it can be nice to see how it actually looks on paper. There we go. Even though it is lilac, it does turn out pretty dark. It's actually a very similar purple to the regular purple. Let me see if I can find that in my box here. Okay, so there is the lilac over here and the regular purple here. You can definitely tell that there's very little difference, but it's subtle enough to be different when they're right next to each other. You can even see it in the roof of this sketch, how I drew some tiles on there with the darker purple, and you can kind of see some texture with that. So that's my lilac there. Then we have our coral pink, and this one is exceptionally interesting because it is a brush pen. And I have not owned any of the Posca brush markers before. As you can see, this has a little, pointed tip there. And I was really worried because the normal tips are just so different, and I was worried that the brush tip wouldn't work very well. But as you can see, it lays down the color really nicely. It's obviously fun to have a brush for different line widths, which is awesome. And I feel like I like this nib even more than the traditional one. And I think I might look for more brush nibs in the future. But I do really love this pink color. That's been definitely showing up a lot in my work. And it's just very vibrant and fun. And I have the aqua green. This one is definitely a mix of blue and green. It kind of fits in both families for sure. And again, a nice bright and fun color. Next we have the apple green. This one, again, I have so many different light greens, but this one is definitely different. It has its own like very vibrant neon almost color going on here. I also grabbed a khaki green, and I wish I would have grabbed a larger one. This is the smaller nib size, as you can see here. So it is smaller, and I like using my smaller markers, but I don't feel like they have as much use for my works, just because I like to fill in a lot of color on a bigger sheet sometimes, and it's hard to do with such a small nib. But a great color, a great addition to my greens. Now I have like a super, super dark green that is perfect for shadows and layering. And then I wanted to try the sky blue, and sky blue is actually really, really close to this light blue. They're very similar. So let's do this sky blue here. And then we have the light blue here. So they're just a little different, but you can see there the sky blue and the light blue. They're very similar, just the sky blue is a little darker actually. I really want to find a blue that's even lighter than the light blue. Maybe I'll probably have to look in a different brand and look at Molotov or Montana's to see if I can get something really light. I kind of need something even brighter in value. And then we have the emerald green. This one is really beautiful. I absolutely love it. Again, a much darker bluish green, fits in the blue or fits in the green, so very versatile for my use. And actually, I think there's one more marker that I'm missing here. Here we go. I also got the light pink, so added another pink to my collection. I'm really just loving like the more pastel colors, so I wanted to get another type of pink. So there we go. There's that other light pink color. So crazy fun to get some new markers in preparation for that exhibit that I did a few weeks ago. And you know, all those colors really turned out to be incredibly useful. We used a lot of them in the work that I did there. And this is just the thumbnail, but you can see the full painting in my last video. So super excited to have all of these awesome colors, and I'm sure my collection will continue to grow. I am gonna need a bigger bucket at some point for all of my acrylic markers. Okay, what else did I get? This is insane. So let's do some ink tools. Okay, so first of all, we have these cute little stamps that were on clearance. Hello. I cannot help but walk through the clearance section at Michael's and just piece through everything. Oh man, how can I open this? All right. Ugh. They're so cute. So we have limited edition and for you. There you go. So cute. 100% original, handmade, handcrafted. From me to you with love. I'm just excited to have these. I write my own cards, and you know, I send people little art things and gift things. So I thought these were super sweet, and I can't wait to use them. And then I also found on clearance this calligraphy pen, and it says on here that it's one that you just dip into the ink and then use, so you don't have to buy ink and keep refilling it, I guess. You can just dip, which is just a fun thing for me because I do carry around a lot of just ink jars, and I usually dip small little paintbrushes into the ink to draw with. But I think it'll be really, really fun to use an actual ink pen. And I know there's lots of ink pens out there, and I've tried some before, and I don't think I've really found the one I really love yet. But I'm hoping this will be a fun thing to try, especially since it was on clearance, so I figure I could just test it out and see. Looks like I've got some different sized, I can get it, different sized nibs in there. So that'll be especially fun to play around with during Inktober. I've always really loved participating in Inktober, so that's why I've kind of gotten all this ink stuff. And then we have some block printing. I've always wanted to try block printing. For years I've been wanting to try block printing, and I've just never got around to it. And man, I just couldn't help myself. So it comes with basically everything you need to try it out. So it has this little, block and the scraper thing. I don't even know what anything is called. Some ink, and then the roller. I will probably open this up and try it out sometime in October for you all. I have a whole kind of series of Inktober videos that I am excited to make and share with you, just because I really love ink, and even though a lot of my artistic journey right now is in color, ink and line work has just like been the comfort zone for me, and kind of like where my journey has branched off to in different points of my creative practice. So definitely we'll be trying that out soon, and I cannot wait. Also in the clearance section, I found 2 acrylic gouaches. We have this emerald green and this red light. And I have used gouache for a really long time, but I've never tried acrylic gouache. So I figured this would be a fun way to try it out. It's only 2 colors, but there's a lot in here, and it was only $5 each. So that was pretty great. And so far, you can see these colors. I tested them out here. So you can see we have the light red and the emerald green. You know, the more, just like with regular gouache, the more water you add, the lighter it can be. And if you don't add much water at all, it'll be very, very dark. I've found so far the biggest difference between acrylic gouache and regular gouache is that it doesn't reactivate as much when you let it dry and then come back with a wet brush. And I think that's why a lot of painters like it right now, because if you're used to painting with something like regular acrylic, it is very similar. You don't get that frustration of reactivating the paint when you add more layers. And something I want to do more of and try is using like this as my base before adding on my marker colors, because usually when I'm painting, I add an entire layer of, let's say, this yellow before I actually paint on top of it. I like to have an under layer. That's been kind of fun for me, but I think using just some acrylic gouache is actually going to be easier and less expensive than using all my acrylic markers just for an under layer. And it's just such a beautiful red color. So that's why I'm excited for these little acrylic gouaches. And now I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for even more colors, because this has been really fun. But we're not done yet. Yes, sirree. That is right. We have a few other things I grabbed from Michael's. So I have a couple of little mini canvases here. There's another exhibition I really want to try to get into, and they want everything to be mini. And I haven't really used canvas much, so I thought it would be fun to try maybe submitting something on canvas. Again, I think the acrylic gouache will help with adding a base layer before painting with marker. I don't really know even if marker will work on this or not, so we can try it out. And then I also was just really excited about trying to paint on some wood, but I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of big panels. So I bought these cute little frames, and you just kind of put the stick there, and then it sits up nice. But thought these were really fun. Honestly, don't know what I'm going to do with them, but if I end up not doing anything, then I can always bring them for my nieces and nephews to paint, and they can make their own little craft. So just some new painting surfaces that I'm excited to try. Let me know if you have painted on wood before, because I'm excited to try it out. And finally, we get to the sketchbook haul. Yes, that is right. We went to Barnes and Noble a few weeks ago, and they were having a huge, like, selling out. I don't know what it's called, like full store clearance. They're getting rid of everything. I think that branch might be closing. So everything was like half off, and it was crazy. So of course I went to the sketchbook section and tried to find some sketchbooks that I would like to have, even though I am on a journey this year to finish my partially used sketchbooks before I start any new ones. So these are all just sitting there tempting me to start painting in them, but I can't yet because I need to finish my other sketchbooks first. But I'm really excited about these. I have two of these soft cover Lustrum brand sketchbooks here, and honestly I have not used these before. Let's see if we can open that and see what the paper is like. It says it's 80 GM, so it's probably not very thick paper. These just seem like a nice size, a little size that can go in your bag, travel around with you easily. And it's not too thick either, so it's easier to carry around. Like if I was to, bring a travel sketchbook, it might be something like this. Yeah, that's nice. And there are a lot of pages. It's even marks 123 pages. Definitely very thin paper, but the good thing about a lot of the mediums I like is they won't bleed through. So acrylic will definitely warp your paper a little bit, but it won't bleed. And then a lot of the inks I use won't be bleeding much either. So that's just a good little travel sketchbook, I think. And this is such a beautiful color. So I think these were some of the only ones left. Got some black and got the maroon. Honestly, I wish I would have gone back to Barnes & Noble to get more. And then we have this one. I have no idea the paper source. I just saw that it was dotted and I got excited. And we'll see if I turn this into a sketchbook or not. I usually use a dotted journal for my bullet journal, and that's kind of what I use for my calendar and my personal notes and my personal admin things. So this might turn into my 2026 calendar. But this paper is actually kind of thick. It's much thicker even than this one. So I might paint and draw over it as well. And it's just kind of a nice soft cover here. So I'm definitely excited about that. And then I cannot believe there were a couple of Mossery however you pronounce that, Sketchbooks. And I've always wanted to try these, and they're just so expensive. I think they're like $30, like normal price, which is kind of insane. But like these covers are so pretty, and I wonder if it says on the inside like who designed them, because they support a lot of different artists and do some cool stuff. But this one has like mixed media paper in it, very thick, very pretty. I am so excited to use this. Yeah, this one I'm super stoked for. It lays flat, like everything I could dream, right? And the cover is really pretty. I really like this one. And then when I saw this one, I was also like, oh, that's so pretty, let's get it. And I just grabbed it, and I didn't even notice that this is actually one that has like a ruled notebook. So that's kind of a bummer. But the good thing is that with these types of sketchbooks, they actually, you can, if you can see, you can take out the middle like this. So this is the interior of it. And then you're left with just the cover. And so you can actually reuse the cover and just buy replacement middles. So I can always go online to the Mossery website and buy another mixed media core and just replace it. Replace it with this one. So we'll see what I end up doing. If there's other things on that website I want to order, that would be a good thing to do. But that's definitely a neat little feature of these notebooks and sketchbooks that I didn't realize until I bought some. So definitely super excited, especially for this super thick multimedia paper. So there are 5 sketchbooks, and who knows how long it'll take me to get through all of these, but definitely super, super, super excited for all of it. Imagine how much art is gonna be in all of these. Okay, so there you have it. There's my huge, huge, huge haul. And of course, all my markers. I hope you enjoyed looking through what I've been buying. I hope you are just as excited as I am for some new art supplies. Let me know what new supplies you've been buying right now, or if there are any new materials that you have been exploring and trying out, because I think it's always good to keep things fresh. You don't always have to buy a bunch of stuff to make that happen, but it's hard not to buy stuff when I see a deal. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.